Thanks everybody for joining us today. And we'll be recording today's webinar. We'll follow up with email with a link to the recording as well as the deck. My name is Jason Hubbard. I run marketing for Prodoscore. We have Matthew Samuel, who runs sales for Prodoscore. And Matt's going to take us through a short deck, and then we're going to spend most of our time actually showing off Prodoscore and how it works with Vonage and G Suite as a really, really powerful combined solution. So Matt, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jason. Can everybody hear me? Jason, can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. So really, I want to thank everyone so much for joining. Obviously, the topic today is how we can leverage machine learning and unified communications to benefit your business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So when we first off talk about what the collaboration and partnership that we have today. So we've got Prodoscore, which is an actionable analytics platform that utilizes machine learning built into the Google Cloud platform. So what we layer on top of would be G Suite as well as GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and then unified communications, so your Vonage, as well as other business collaboration tools. And what we're able to do is take all of that data and we pull that through API connections from your Gmail, your calendar, your docs, your drives, all the aspects of the G Suite, and then we pull in other business applications like your Vonage voice over IP phone system, CRM, and other applications to bring that into a platform that you have the ability to quickly and easily understand what people are using, as well as what's trending, and then time management across those platforms to provide a unique ability to quickly and easily understand that and take action on how to use that machine learning to benefit your business. So many organizations out there are continually looking at ways to utilize analytics. There's a Harvard Business Review. It's a business that aggregate multiple sources of data, outperform their competitors. So Prodoscore helps you to do that. So how we integrate with Vonage is very key in what we're going to show you today on our demo, but really Vonage is a platform that can leverage the ability to pull in data from many end solutions. So we can pull in data from your Android or Chromebooks, mobile devices. As you see here, we can pull data through from your CRM as well as other platforms, and by pulling those all in together, we're able to quickly and easily take that data and run that through Prodoscore. When Prodoscore can actually take the data that's being produced through that and use other machine learning and APIs, so like natural language processing as well as speech to text, to analyze that data over these different platforms, provide management or anybody who's viewing this data to quickly and easily understand what's happening, how it's being used, and how their customers or prospects are interacting with their employees. So with those different types of solutions, we're working with Vonage to come up with other API platforms, i.e. the Nexmo and other solutions within that platform to utilize the data in a more precise method of increasing productivity and visibility of the usages of technologies. So we've had many different successes with this platform, but one would be Gatehouse Media. Gatehouse Media is one of the largest media companies throughout the United States. They represent over 10,000 users, and their chief revenue officer, as you see here, quoted, and I will paraphrase, they were utilizing Google, Salesforce, and Sugar CRM, and they were able to leverage Vonage as the solution for unified communications to merge all those technologies together, and Prodoscore rides on top of that to capture the data of each one of those applications to increase productivity and overall visibility of their business. So what we're going to do now is what we're going to focus on is actually showing you the product. So I'm going to jump into the Prodoscore dashboard. So what we show here is what the manager or an admin would see. When we talk about managers or admins, this is role-based secure. So only people that have the credentials of a manager or admin would have visibility to see this platform. So what we show here is we will always show a score. And hence, when we talk about a score, Prodoscore, as I mentioned, is pulling the data through the different technologies that we integrate with. And what we've done, and it's a very unique platform, is that we tie all those other pieces of technology together into one, and we layer on an algorithm. And that algorithm weights specific actions, i.e. emails, calls, texts, CRM activity, specific to a user role. And then we weight it 1 through 100, and we're able to come up with a quick and easy score. So what we'll see here is we are looking at the different date ranges. And when we show date ranges, we can go back actually up to 90 days back. And you will see most people will go week over week to understand week over week how their employees are trending. We'll see increasing or decreasing here. If I want to see, as a manager, I want to complement or understand who my top performers are, I can click into that and see if I want to focus my time on contacting them to maybe replicate that behavior. If I want to see where other individuals fall or who I need to focus my time and energy on, I have the ability to log into that. When we also look at here is where we're leveraging the machine learning NLP, or natural language processing. What we're able to do is actually pull up all the different data across the different platforms, i.e. your phone calls through Vonage, emails, drive activities, CRM tasks, and we can see what's trending across your organization. So what we're able to do is we will go out with the actual NLP and pull keywords or phrases that are mentioned across those mediums, and we'll show the topics here. And then to the right, we'll actually show the significance or times that it's mentioned. In addition, we can also show in your dashboard who's taking up the most of your employees' time. COD stands for contacts outside the domain. So we can show if there's any specific individuals that are taking up more or less time of your employees. To the right, we get a quick organizational chart. We can see how we're trending. It allows me to understand from a manager view or an admin view where I need to focus my time to get a better result and take action on how to do that, whether it be through training or whether it be integrating other different platforms into the system. We can see here who my employees are and what their ranges are in a quick and easy fashion. The key here is simplicity is the key to brilliance. Prodoscore makes it very simple to pull data through multiple different data sets into one platform, and with that platform we can show how your company is trending, upwards or downwards, what's trending topic-wise, as well as how people spend their time utilizing the applications that you spend money on. So what I'm going to focus on is now going into a manager view. So when we talk about managers, we show that we have all the different managers across the company. We can see what their scores are and relative to there. We can click into any specific manager, and with that, we will be able to have the ability to understand not only who he is, what his scores are, but what his subordinate scores are. And with ability for me as a manager, it gives me to quickly and easily understand if I need to focus on replicating, say, Joey's behavior as a manager, or if there's certain employees that I need to focus on. So it gives me the ability to log into that. What I'm going to go into is actually focusing on understanding of what actually makes up this score. So we see we have an 81 here, and with that 81, I can see he's above average. He's obviously on a highward or upward trajectory. If I want to click into what is that 81 score or 83 score made up of, the key here is, as we talked about, utilizing unified communications platform like Vonage, using the G Suite, which is obviously the emails, drives, calendars, chats, your CRM. All of those business tools are being utilized already by your employees, but what we've done is we've weighted them based on user role to come up with this score. So I'm going to focus here on the unified communications. So if I want to actually understand what actually made up this hour and 48 minutes of phone time for this employee, I can click below here. If I see here that it's actually whited out or a gray color, I could show that this actually was a call that was either not answered or missed by my employee. It may have gone into a hunt group, so definitely know that they didn't answer it. If it's a black or a bolted out, I can see who they spoke with, duration of the call, if it was an external call, and if it was an outbound or inbound call. This is also leveraging the ability for us to pull data through the CRM or the call log. If that name or the contact is listed, we'll actually be able to display this here. The key is we're pulling this through APIs, so the employee is not doing anything to log this data into Prodoscore. We're pulling it automatically through. What we also show here is actually a timeline. And time is sometimes most important to actually activities. Not only do they do the activities, but when they do the activities throughout the day. Now, obviously, as a manager, I want to replicate good behavior. And if I see that Joey is a highly productive employee, I may want to focus on how they spend their time. I can click on at any point in time throughout the day and understand what phone calls they made, what chats, emails, whatever the functions might be that actually they're taking action on. The key is also we can tag certain activities if we deem them not to be productive. So if I see that, say, a call is something maybe not a business-related call, I could flag that if necessary. By flagging that, that goes into Prodoscore, allows us then to remove that as they proceed through time, and it will not populate into their Prodoscore. The key here is what we're allowing as a manager the ability to look in and not only see the quantitative data, but the qualitative data associated with these actions. So from a management perspective, if I want to see the ability to understand they had a lot of emails, but maybe that email or that phone call didn't achieve the best outcome, let's look at the qualitative. I can pull up the data below and see what they actually, maybe the dialogue of that. I can also see sentiment analysis. And that's another ability of machine learning that Prodoscore is taking advantage of. So what we're doing is speech to text for phone calls, but also for emails, CRM tasks, or other actions. So what I want to focus on is let's also go into showing what's trending across the organization. So when we talk about trending topics, we talk about what people are talking about. Now, obviously, as an employee, it's valuable for if I'm passing the message that a company would like me to mention. So what we show here is what specifically Joey is mentioning as an employee of the company. If I see a specific topic, i.e. Vonage or VOIP, Salesforce, Google, things like that, that's actually a high priority, I can see that Joey's meeting that message. I can see also who Joey's speaking to on a regular basis. I can see who's taking up the most of his time. So the key is, from a manager perspective, I can understand if I need to train him differently or I need to actually take action to get a better outcome, whether that be interceding in some form or fashion. I'm going to click into an employee view for you as well. So when we focus on this, as I mentioned, Prodoscore is a product that bases the score on actions taken by a certain user, and users are defined here. So the key is for us is understanding that a certain individual or a user does like function. Like users do like function, meaning that the score that you see populated here is accurate based on their specific role. The key is, as a specific role, we understand that they should be doing those certain tasks, and then we can define that appropriately. So what I want to click into is actually showing you some other aspects of what makes up that score. So if we click into, say, Denise here, I want to understand not only what she's coming up with, but also how that score is being defined. I also want to focus on certain aspects of natural language processing that we're utilizing within Prodoscore, since we're talking about machine learning. So what we're doing here is we're actually showing with the conference calls, we show that we can pull through the API for that conference calling platform, not only who was on the call, but the sentiment of that call. And the way that we're able to do that is through speech to text. So what we've done is we've transcribed the actual call by recording that, and we have to have the ability to record that, so enabling that on your conference calling or voice platform, we'll be able to pull that out, and by then doing so, we can then transcribe that into the natural language processing, and then we'll know what topics are actually trending across that. So another instance in which Prodoscore is leveraging machine learning and the unified communications platform to bring value and visibility into the actual user's role. Now, what we also want to focus on is from an organizational standpoint, this is a product that can not only show you what they're talking about, who they're talking about it with, but also how they use the different tools. So I'm going to show you here in our correlations platform all the different topics that are mentioned as a company, not just as an individual. So when we click here, we're going to notice that this is going to be specific to your organization. Now, obviously, the data we have here is actually a company that utilizes Prodoscore, and they happen to be a Google reseller. With that, that company's topics are going to be specific to their business. Your topics will be much different. We'll click into Google here. So by clicking into Google, I can see that it was mentioned 216 times. And what we will see here to the below, I can see how it was mentioned. I can see that we've got 5+ individuals mentioning this specific topic. To the right, I can show how it's being used. So I can see emails, chats, drive activities, calendars, as well as conference calls. Conference calls, if you remember from the previous screen, we had transcribed that, and this data was actually shown here. So that's where we're actually pulling up the data of that conference call that I showed you, and that's populating into the trending topics. Let's call it the hashtag for your business. So we also show not only who's talking about something, how they're talking about something, but also who they're talking about it with. So I can show here, if I have a certain individual, shughes@propelmarketing.com, what I will then show below, as it's populating 381 times this individual is mentioned, it's quite a lot of data. I can see here that I have 6+ individuals mentioning or speaking with this specific contact outside the domain. To the right, I can see how they were engaging with that person. And then with that, it gives me the ability to log in and see the qualitative data if I see something that pops up. Now, a great use case for this would be, say I am a manager of, say, customer care, and I'm leveraging my unified communications platform to increase dialogue with them. I'm also using my G Suite and other forms of communication that you see here, and I notice that there's a certain topic that's being mentioned consistently with this customer, and I realize that customer is contacting many of my employees for one specific role, whether that be support or buying a product. And I can then, as a manager, say, I don't need 6 different individuals to be engaged with this one customer. As a manager, I can contact Denise and say, Denise, can you please take ownership of this? Or contact the customers directly and say, Philip will help you, or Denise will help you with this, and allow everyone else to move along to doing other productivity enhancing applications. The goal is from Prodoscore is not only to look at how people use the tools and increase adoption, but also to increase productivity, as well as understanding how you can leverage making decisions on all operational aspects of hiring, recruiting, training, real estate, whether you need an office or you can allow people to work remotely because you can hold them accountable with this visibility. I'm going to show you quickly and easily how easy Prodoscore is to install. So we talk about the product itself. It is a SaaS-based application, so all you have to do is contact Prodoscore. We would download the application, and once you download the application and put in your username and credentials for your G Suite, and that's the key, it's all ran on GCP, and a G Suite is a point of entry, all the emails will populate. We will then go through and choose our usernames or criteria. The managers, visible or hidden. Now, obviously, not every individual in your organization may require to have Prodoscore running on them. Then we show, obviously, the reporting email and the frequency in which the end user will receive their daily or weekly report. We can go through organizational settings. Organizational settings is very simple to understand. You have your dates and hours throughout the week that you want to measure. User accounts would be the managers or admins who have full access to this platform or dashboard. Alert settings, just showing when they would actually be alerted with their score. You can turn this on or off per employee. And then the last piece would other products that we integrate into Prodoscore. So your conference calling platform, your Vonage phone system, which runs on BroadSoft, and then your CRM. In CRM, we have different CRM platforms. We have your Zoho shown here, Salesforce, ProsperWorks, and we just completed a Sugar CRM integration. So the key for you to understand here is that Prodoscore is an application that can pull data from your unified communications platforms, but also other business applications that your company already purchases, as well as always leverages for productivity and efficiency and visibility of that. So that's Prodoscore in a nutshell. I'd like to open it up to questions if you guys don't mind.
Hey, Matt, while we wait for people to add some questions, and we also have Joey Mailer, who's from VIWO, who's a reseller of Prodoscore, Vonage, and G Suite, but also VIWO was one of the early customers using Prodoscore. So for both of you, can you go into some of the cooler use cases that you've seen as far as what was discovered or what was done or enabled from Prodoscore?
I'll let Joey actually answer because we're showing his data here.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. I was muted there for a sec. Yeah, I actually have a couple of really specific use cases that have really worked well in our favor. And as the sales manager here, one of my main responsibilities is obviously to help improve my sales team. And Prodoscore has really allowed me to get access to data that I wouldn't have known existed and wouldn't have known to take action unless it was shown to me. So a specific use case was we have a dispersed workforce. We have salespeople on the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast. I happen to be on the West Coast. So by the time I get up and get my day going, it's already 3 or 4 hours into the day for some of my East Coast salespeople. And after about 3 or 4 weeks of running Prodoscore, I noticed that our East Coast salespeople took a while to get going in the morning. And that could be for a number of reasons. Maybe they say the boss isn't up yet, we can kind of cruise by and not do much. And once that became apparent to me, I sat down with them and I said, hey guys, it's really important that you get your day started right away. The first 2 or 3 hours of your day, send some emails, make some phone calls. It really sets the tone for the day. And slowly but surely I started to see the activity go up and up and up during those first 2 or 3 hours of the day. And lo and behold, their sales improved. And something little like that made a huge difference in not only how well they're performing, but it also helped me structure their day better. It helped them with time management. So it ended up there was a lot of residual value effects that came out of just understanding that one little piece of data. Also with the correlations piece, that has been huge because as a sales organization, we try different messaging, we try different solutions, we try combining different packages, and I could see, if my salespeople are actually pitching those solutions. When we first started offering Vonage, we would see that Vonage was not trending, and I would ask the salespeople, "Are you guys talking about phones?" And they would say yes, but I can actually quantify if they are or not, and I can see that they weren't. So every day we would push them, and slowly but surely we started to see Vonage trending as one of the top 5 topics. And what happened? Obviously we started selling more and more Vonage and more phones integrations. So again, it just comes back to exposure to data and insight that you didn't know you needed until you actually have it and you use it to your business advantage.
And I know I've heard several.
Yeah.
I've heard several use cases on like the HR side, where like maybe somebody hadn't been trained properly, or was looking to, like they may leave the company. Can you speak to some of those?
Yeah, I could actually speak to that. Yeah. So, Joey, I think you definitely obviously have some great use cases, and Jason, that's another great one. So many organizations, I think the key is when they decide that they want to hire an individual, first and foremost, they go through a process of interviewing that candidate, and then they put them through an instance of training and understanding what the job and function should be so that they can be successful. Many instances, it's difficult for companies to understand how they can actually create effective training, but first and foremost, what are the tasks that actually the job function should be? Not just the qualitative data, but the actual quantitative data. What do people need to do throughout the day? And many organizations start using Prodoscore really not only as a ability to understand how they can create effective training, but also they can understand if somebody is actually potential for attrition, because maybe it's a highly performing sales individual or somebody within an organization. We had an organization that rolled out Prodoscore, and they had just recently lost their top employee. He had been with the company for 10 plus years, and when they logged into Prodoscore, we were actually able to go back 90 days and pull up all of the data within the emails, the phone calls, and all the other aspects of CRM, and we found that that employee had not sent one email in the last 3 weeks that he was employed. So really, from a manager perspective, they wanted to retain that employee rather than lose him, because the cost associated with training and his production was directly affected that company's revenue. So Prodoscore is a tool not only to help with finding effective training, but also hiring the right people, and then hopefully finding out how I can incentivize other employees should I find that they're maybe dropping in production.
Right. Yeah, and sort of the opposite of that, well, not opposite, but along those same lines, we're a growing organization, and we're hiring salespeople and other individuals pretty consistently quarter over quarter. And we recently hired a new salesperson a few months ago, and I was able to see right away within the first 2 or 3 weeks, what's this activity? Is this someone that has this new role and is just putting, pedal to the metal and really going out there, or is he someone that might take a little bit of time to get ramped up and he's not really doing much activity? I could see within the first 30 days, is this someone that we really want to keep long term? Because let's face it, it does take some time for new salespeople to get ramped up, but you could tell right away what type of salesperson this is going to be based off his activity within the first couple of weeks. If he's someone that's not putting a lot of effort and activity towards hitting his goals, then I might not need those full 90 days to get him ramped up. I might get rid of him after 30 or 60 days because this will allow me to see what type of activity he's doing.
And then on the reverse side, you can obviously see if they, maybe they need a little bit more hand-holding or training, or to shadow somebody a little bit to maybe be able to get them up there. I know every time we wind up with at least a question or two about the kind of big brother aspect of it. Can you guys speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll speak to it, and I'd love to hear Joey's direct feedback, since obviously they rolled it out. But I think overall, I think many organizations definitely question that when they first see Prodoscore. The key is understanding is that we're pulling data that's already available to these businesses. They have the ability to pull their call logs. They have the ability to look into their Google Analytics and see the activity within G Suite. Everyone lives and dies in Salesforce or their CRM. So multiple different data points, but what Prodoscore does very uniquely is we take all of those together. And yes, there's a cultural shift potentially with the company, but the way that we roll this out for almost every company is really we want the end users to see the significant value of Prodoscore. So Prodoscore actually is a tool that will help them increase their productivity, help them with the improvement by actually taking and understanding what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Where we're taking Prodoscore in the future is ultimately not only being as a tool to monitor and show them what's trending, but also making suggestions, i.e. if you make 5 more calls on your phone system or change the qualitative messaging within your emails and your conference calls, you'll see a higher Prodoscore, which will then positively impact their performance. You have higher performing employees, they're much happier. What we find is many organizations, they're already trying to micromanage them. This makes it much easier and allows them to focus on their job at hand. And with that, they're probably much happier. And Joey, I think you can talk to the increase in productivity and the morale that Prodoscore provided for your company.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was definitely something that I didn't see coming until it actually started to happen. And it allows a sort of gamification component to at least the sales team and some operational folks, where you want to see that your number is higher. It does give you a sense of, okay, how do I get my number higher? If you see that your number is trending lower or it's lower than your peers. So in a competitive world of sales, everyone wants to be at the top. So it actually improved a lot of productivity for our sort of middle tier salespeople, because they wanted to know why is he doing better than me. And that term micromanagement has some different connotations to it, but what Prodoscore allows us to do is find what's really causing this person to not be as productive as the other person. So we're not wasting time micromanaging on things that aren't relevant to that particular salesperson. We're honing in on the 2 or 3 things that we know, because we can clearly see based off the data, that they need to improve on. So it does allow for salespeople to, or anyone in product side, on the operations side, to get a sense of, how can I improve my productivity? How can I improve? And believe it or not, employees ask that. How can I get my number up? And then we can coach them to tell them, let's take a look at your day. Maybe during this 1-hour block, make more phone calls, right? Or maybe in the morning, structure your day a little bit differently. So it does allow us to build a much better culture within our organization.
I would also add to that, we actually had with Vonage, obviously Vonage is a key partner of Prodoscore, and they've helped leverage this to be a differentiator for their solution. We've worked hand in hand with many of their sales representatives throughout the country, and one of their top performing reps in Chicago actually said, when can I have Prodoscore? I asked, why do you want Prodoscore? She goes, I want everyone to see what I do. I want everyone to know why I'm the best, or why I am a higher performing employee. And it doesn't just reflect in sales, it's any aspect of business and whatever their user role is. And I think the key is for this is really allowing them to actually shine and do what they do and get the recognition, but also have less management and allowing management to focus on other aspects of efficiency or other employees that need improvement.
Cool. And one last one that I can think of, Joey in particular, since you guys are a reseller of multiple platforms, obviously the biggest problem with SaaS applications is failed deployments or failed adoption. Obviously, Prodoscore can help clue you into that. So can you talk to that one?
Oh yes, that's another one of those use cases that has become extremely valuable for us, at least, and I'm sure it's going to be the same for a lot of other resellers out there. Prodoscore really allows us to improve our deployment strategy for SaaS applications. So if you're new to G Suite, or if you're new to Salesforce, Prodoscore integrated into those applications from the beginning will give us a sense of the adoption of these products, because that's something that we talk to people all the time, and one of the biggest problems we see out there is adoption of CRM or adoption of a new system, where maybe you're only using a small fraction of really what the entire solution is meant to be used for. So this gives us the insight to see, are your employees using Google Drive? Are they using the Gmail interface? Are they entering data into CRM? Are they converting CRM tasks? So seeing that and being able to go back to the employees that aren't putting that information in, and finding out, okay, what do we need to do here to help make sure that you do start putting your data in, or you do start to improve the adoption of these products. instead of waiting until it's too late and your employees are frustrated because they have to learn something new. So it allows us, when we deploy a new product, to measure that adoption starting day one and take the right approach towards training, deployment. Maybe there's a group of users that for some reason just aren't comfortable in the system. So we can isolate them and do a specific training to make sure that they are comfortable within that application. So the measurement of adoption and usage has become a huge value add for us since we've installed Prodoscore.
Great, great. Thanks for talking through all those use cases. Does anyone have any questions for us? We've got a little bit of time left. Any technical questions or anything else that we can answer for you? I guess a couple of things. Obviously, from the technology side, Matt, you've got to be on G Suite. Can you talk about or list out all of the integrations?
Yeah, so as you remember from the settings, G Suite is the point of entry into Prodoscore. That's where VOIP can help with that and helping you guys migrate over to G Suite platform. From a phone system, BroadSoft platform, Vonage would be our UCaaS platform of choice. And then from a CRM platform, we have Salesforce, Zoho, ProfessorWorks, and also Sugar CRM. Conference calling, we have the platforms on the BroadSoft platform as well as TurboBridge. But I think the key for anyone on the call today, if you have a specific technology that you're seeking to integrate into Prodoscore, whether it be a business application you currently use or an application you're looking to migrate to, as long as it has an API, there's definitely a use case for us to bring that into Prodoscore. The key is for us is taking the other business applications that companies currently use, including that in, and helping you guys have visibility into that within the single dashboard of Prodoscore.
Great. Well, I don't think we've got any questions, so we can give you guys back a little bit of your day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Joey and Matt, and everybody have a good rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, everyone.